Well, welcome then to the Tour de France, the start here, the prologue time trial. This, the 1993 edition of this great race. 90 years since the race was first held way back in 1903. And it's been running now 80 years. And look at this beautiful site here. That is the ruined castle of the chateau at the Puy-Du-Fou. And down there, that lake is where last night a magnificent display of fireworks and soleil lumiere took place. And the riders came down a special pontoon across the water, and there were thousands of people in the grandstands to watch them. But the grandstands now are in the finishing straight. The people here are watching the prologue time trial. 6.8 kilometers to be covered, which goes right round that great castle, by the way. And that is the spectacle they've got at the start house, and on the other side I say the finish point as well. The riders out on the course at the moment. They're going at 1 minute intervals in this to see who will take the yellow jersey on day one of the tour. The right hand side you see the clock showing the best time that this rider's trying to beat. So far Boncassin has done 8 minutes and 40. That's the best time they've got to beat yet. He hasn't done it. But there's a lot of fast men yet to come in this race, and they're all waiting their turn at minute intervals. Well, here we are with Zuller, and the press have been sort of narrowing down and trying to sort out who's going to win the race this year, the Tour de France. Indurain, of course, star favourite, Chiappucci, Zuller, Rominger. There's a lot of people that the question marks are over. People like Gianni Bugno, who had a really pretty grotty tour of Italy by his standards, I think, and also Erik Breukink, who's been coming back into form, although I have to say it now, and I'll probably repeat later on, Erik Breukink didn't have a very good day yesterday. He was out training with his team, and a lady just cut straight across them. Goodness knows how many cyclists know what that feeling's like. We've all been through that. Cut straight across them and fetched him off his bike. So he was limping a bit last night into the press room. We all had a chat to him. Thank goodness some of my Dutch friends were on hand to translate, but he was okay, but very shaken, as they say, but not stirred. So Breukink, we'll see him later on. Zuller coming through now. Quite a useful time trialist, and it looks like he could well take the lead and battle for that yellow jersey. This man's thrown down the gauntlet already. A cracking ride by Alex Zuller. Oh, is he going to take it? He is. It's a great ride. 8 minutes 20.33, 10 seconds fast and certain. That's going to take some beating. Well, look at him, he's out on his bike. That's over 30 miles an hour. To go around this course in 8:30 is exactly 30 miles an hour and 10 seconds inside it. You imagine this course, look at what's going on around there. You've seen the riders struggling up the slopes, you've seen them turning around the sharp bends, and here we've seen a ride over 30 miles an hour for this course then, round the Puy-Du-Fou. A cracking ride by Zuller that really has thrown the gauntlet down to the rest of the riders. 4¼ miles of prologue. 8 minutes and 20 seconds it took him to go round. My goodness, that's going to take some beating. Well, sit back and watch what this man could do, because Lance Armstrong, who, well, if you read about it, if you haven't, I'll tell you, he's supposed to have won $1 million a couple of weeks ago in America, and certainly he did, but it was for a particular race when he won the thing, and it was a race I think sponsored by some trust company, and what it meant is providing he left the prize he won, which was considerable, in the bank, it would in like 5 or 7 years time accumulate to $1 million. As Pasqualino comes in now, and so he's not going to be up there in the top 10 at the moment with a ride, but we'll see him in the mountains. Useful ride. I think Festina will be looking for him when they get down into the Pyrenees to restore some of the honour to the Spanish team. They've not had a good year, by the way, Festina. Sean Kelly, their rider, who was expecting to ride his 15th Tour de France, is not fit enough to ride this year with that groin strain, so he's out. Delgado, past winner of the Tour, also still everybody's favourite. I said earlier on that the old guard are fading away. This man's going to use all his skill and experience to guide Indurain. Not as suppose that Indurain needed, having won the Tour de France twice now, but this fellow here has got a lot of supporters, a very nice gentleman indeed, and really he put Spanish cycling on the map in recent years, but getting to the point now where he just hasn't quite got that little extra punch in his legs, but I understand he could still be riding next year for Banesto. So out then with Lance Armstrong, who was a triathlon champion in America, by the way, a few years ago. He turned pro last year and surprised a lot of people by his spirited performance, battling with the top men for stage successes and raised the road in. But he's not going to get this one at the moment. But nevertheless, I'm sure you're going to have to make a note of this fella's name. He'll be with the big men in this race at some point later on. Lance Armstrong across the line. And that hurt. Unzipped and got a deep breath into his lungs. He could feel that one, couldn't he? Well, Eric Carrick too, another rider that's found their way in, I'm going to say through the back door, but the Chazelle team is the last team to be selected, and there's been so much concern about this team because at one time Chazelle were going to mix a team of 5 of the Chazelle team with 4 from the Subaru team, the American-backed Subaru Montgomery team. But a lot of hoo-ha went on, and so Chazelle now are out riding on a group on their own as let's see what Finon's going to do. Now, I think Laurent, in fact, is going to be looking for a stage success like he got last year in the Tour de France. When Finon got that one last year, the French were absolutely over the moon about it, and there we are. Remember when he lost the Tour to Greg LeMond by 8 seconds, what, about 4 years ago now? I've never seen such a close race in all my life, but there he is still in there battling, and I think that may be his last Tour de France, or this may be his last Tour de France. As Djamalin Abdul-Japarov, as my good friend Alan Piper used to say, his middle name is even more unpronounceable. This fellow, we won't see him until the sprints are coming, as Stephen Roche is on your screens now, winner of the Tour of Italy, the Tour de France and the World Championship. The only man to do that was Eddie Merckx and Stephen Roche, so those two riders doing that. And it's quite a useful ride for Stephen, by the way. He was looking good in the Tour of Italy, and I think he could be coming into form, and he might be surprising a few people. Just shows the strength of career. Then he's in 5th place. Sorensen already had done a good time of 8:40, and Kierpucci's yet to go out on the course. We'll have to watch this crew up. They're going to be strong in the race this year. Tony Rominger, winner of the Tour of Spain 1993 and 1992. We never seen much of him in the summer because this fellow used to suffer from hay fever when the pollen came. Here he is going over the top of that first climb just after the start, past that memorial on the left-hand side from a local family. I said earlier on, I've forgotten the name of it when I went round yesterday in the motor car. I did see it quickly. But this fellow here had some problems with the pollen, but he's been having attention from a specialist, and they've cured that now. And after the Tour of Spain this year, he did a sensible thing. He went off to California and he'd been training at altitude, and 1 or 2 riders have done that. This is modern thinking, that try and ride 3 big tours end to end, you blow your brains out and your body too. So Indurain has already ridden the Tour of Italy, and 2 weeks later he's going to ride the Tour de France. This fella didn't ride the Tour of Italy. He rode the Tour of Spain, which Indurain didn't ride, if you follow me, then went off for a few weeks training up at altitude. So as Delgado comes through now, a lot of these riders with their own game plans for this, the 1993 Tour de France. 90 years it is since the Tour de France was first decided by the Henri de Grange of Lotto, the magazine or newspaper in those days, to publicise his magazine, and printed in yellow paper. That's why they have the yellow jersey. Just think, 90 years since it was there first formed, and way back in that time, by the way, while we're having a look down here at Tony Rominger, let me tell you that the race they did then in 1903 covered 2,428 kilometres. A bit less than this year, but they did it in 6 stages. Just imagine that, 6 stages, 2,428 kilometres. 60 riders started, 21 finished, and as we're looking at Yakimov now, out on the course with these special aerodynamic handlebars he's got on his bicycle. So I watched him yesterday fitting his little computer to his bike, and with something like 11 amateur track records to his success, stage victory as well in the Tour de France, this sort of distance would suit him. It's a bit hilly, I think, as far as Ekimov is concerned, but he's strong, he's powerful, and he's still, I think, smarting from that defeat in the 4 days at Dunkirk, which, by the way, is a 6-day race. And when I was there, I said, well, how the hell do you have a 4-day of Dunkirk? And one of the officials said, well, in the old days we used to start at Dunkirk and we came back to Dunkirk every day, and we went over 4 days, and eventually the race, we decided to enlarge it, and it was taken over by a new organisation, and they started in Paris, and you couldn't really get from Paris to Dunkirk and have a decent race in 4 days, so now it's over 6 days. Well, they've changed the course a bit since then, so the 4 jours de Dunkirk is in fact over 6 days, and this fellow was leading until the penultimate day, and he got somehow completely blown out the back. And let's go back to Abdul Jafarov. He with the sideways sprint, and those who watched the finish the Tour, was it 3 years ago, watched him demolish the barriers himself too. Well, he'll go faster than that when it comes to the sprint, I tell you. The Tashkent Terror. And of course Cipollini is also riding in the Tour this year. He's another fellow that sprints like crazy. In fact, Cipollini won about 15 races last year, most of in sprints, and actually retired about the time of the Tour de France, didn't race again. He got enough successes for the season as far as he's concerned, and he's another great sprint character. In the early days in the Tour are going to be on the flat, so if you can find time to set your videotapes to watch Eurosport if you're out at school or working or what have you, then we'll be bringing you on air 2 hours every day, or sometimes more than that. Just have a look at your newspapers, actual times. And in the early stage, you watch Cipollini and Abdul Jafarov battering each other to pieces. Well, the race for the overall victory this year is going to be between Tony Rominger and Miguel Indurain, Alex Zülle, also Tadej Pucci, Gianni Bugno, the whole lot of people breaking in with a chance of winning the Tour this year. And the opening day really isn't the final answer, but there's 1 or 2 people like to surprise their competitors. And certainly when Indurain last year took the yellow jersey again, he wore it all the way round the prologue time trial in Spain, and surprised a few people by his speed last year. He's yet to come on this course. It may be proved to be just a bit too hilly as far as he's concerned, but we'll have to race and see. Still the best time then, Zülle's 8 minutes and 20 seconds is the one to beat. Well, we should, I hope, see Robert Miller at some point, because we've got Ekimov out on the course, and if we see a TVM rider, that's going to be Robert. Now here's quite a character, Jackie Durand. He's wearing the French national colours as the national champion of France. He surprised a lot of people with his spirited ride. He was like 230 odd kilometres in the leading groups in the French Championships a week ago on Sunday. He also surprised a lot of people in the Tour of Flanders a couple of years ago when he won that one, and everybody said, Jackie, who? When he went away with Wegmüller and a couple of other riders. In fact, he dropped Wegmüller with about some 15 miles to go for the finish. So this fellow is an opportunist. He's an opportunist on Sunday week to win the French Championships, and I think everybody likes somebody who's prepared to throw down the gauntlet and catch the opposition napping. So Jackie Durand then, the Castorama rider, out on the course. We're down now to the last of the riders from each of the teams. Each team, 9 riders, had 1 man go off in the first 20-man group, and so on all the way. This is that sharp bend, and round they go, and another one later on when they climb up that little climb. Well, Mauri, don't think he'll be too upset if he doesn't do a great time. He's got to recover by it. He had some knee trouble. He had to have a bit of an operation just behind his knee, but I think he'll be happy with that one. The Amaya rider, riding on an aluminium frame bike, by the way. They're welded aluminium bicycles from Ragazza. She used to be sponsored by the BH team, and then Amaya took over the team, and that's the majority of the riders are from that squad. Looking back down then for the GAN rider, Francis Morrow, ex-pursuit champion of the world. So if this was flat, by the way, you could lift off down the bookers and put your one on this fella, because he would have been in for a shout and a chance of winning it. But it's a hilly course, and I somehow don't think that Morrow will be up there. Well, I've said that before and put my big foot in it. Here's another useful rider, but Jelen Idem, his father was a pursuiter and a medalist at world level, but he's not going to get that one. But I'm sure we'll see him going for stage successes. He's already notched a few of those up in the Tour de France in his time. Eric Breaking, champion of Holland. Look at that Lotus bike. It's a Boardman type replica, and we're seeing it for the first time in the Tour de France, and Breuking's riding it. Let's hope the crash yesterday when he's out training hasn't taken the edge off this fine rider's performance as Miller comes down. So we've just seen a British bicycle, and here we have a British rider, albeit from Scotland, but Robert Miller, as he's matured, has become quite a character, by the way. And Rominger comes in to finish, and he's going to challenge, but he's not going to get it. He's second at 8:26. Rominger at 8:26. That's just shows you that Zuluk might be yet in yellow. That I don't think Rominger would say he's one of the world's greatest time trialists. And really, we'll have to, I think, to see what Indurain can do at the end. As Olaf Ludwig here. This course could sort of suit Ludwig. He's pretty quick, but he's fairly heavy too. Green jersey, points winner in the Tour de France. Not had the best of seasons. Past World Cup winner as well. And Olaf Ludwig, well, I think he'll be looking for stage victories again this year. The Telecom team, very strong indeed. I say all by one of the riders from Germany. And I'm sure my co-commentator from the German part of our operation, we've got Peter Voigt and Rudy Altig. Altig will be really urging this fellow on. What a character Rudy is, by the way. I've had some great times with him, and he was in fine form. And he'll be looking forward to the tour and talking to all our German listeners throughout the next 2 weeks. Well, Jackie Durand, that'll be a tidy one, but not quite good enough. And I think he's just looking for some stage successes later on. Everybody hopes they can do it, but of course they often have to ride to team orders and sacrificing the opportunities of winning stages in the Tour de France. But he's going to take that national jersey round the whole of France, and this year the shape of the Tour, if you see a map of it, they call it the Grand Boucle, the big loop, and this year all of it is inside France. It gets very close to the border, but it really follows the shape of what they call the hexagon, except the two bits we do in the transfers by train and by plane. So the Grand Boucle is back at home as Federico Ballerini, who's got to be one of the most disappointing cyclists in 1993. I don't know if you saw our coverage of the Paris-Roubaix, but he lost that one by Nat's whiskers. Yakimov here, coming down the finishing straight. He's not going to beat Zula's time. That just shows what a fearsome performance Zula was to get that one, because Yakimov knows what it's like to really steamroll around. He's not going to get it. In fact, he's going to be probably about, well, third or fourth, even be outside that. Seventh, in fact, shottling my notes here. I can't look at the screen and throw these bits of paper around, but Yakimov, I don't think we're too pleased with that one, but that's not bad. It should keep him in the top 10, I'd have thought, because I don't think that Ludwig is going to perhaps go that much faster, but I've said this before and been proved wrong. With size 12 boots, I suppose that's the big enough ones to put in your mouth, and we'll see what Ludwig has to do. They're not an exhilarating start to the year as far as he's concerned, but I think he's going to salvage something in the Tour de France. A very fearsome, strong competitor indeed. There we are, look at the crowds there, the motor cars, going to be a hell of a job getting out of here, and that gives you some idea of the position so far. So there we are then, Zula still leading by 6 seconds, Rominger and Sorensen in third. At the pink figure out on the road then, and that is the rider for the Once squad, Eric Breukink, number 51 on his back. The one shows that he is the leader, but here is a character. Tony Rominger, when he came to the press office yesterday, everybody was chatting to him. He looked laid back. You think he's gone on holiday rather than spending 3 weeks riding his bike round 3,720 kilometres. Let's wish him the best of luck. Winner last year of the stage into Sestria in fine style. Hoped he could win the Tour of Italy this year. He didn't do so, and a man called Ugrimov got between him and Indurain. We're now looking at Robert Miller coming into the finishing straight then. Robert, not known as a time trialist, so I think that proves it, but we're going to see him in the mountains, and he loves the Pyrenees. That's where Robert's won his stage in the past, by the way, and I think we'll find Robert looking for a good position up in the Pyrenees when we get there in, what about 18 days' time it'll be. This man has won the prologue time trial in the Tour de France in the past, and I'm looking down there at the unusual gear system he's got at the back. We were going around looking at different bikes last night. I never got a chance to look at his. Oh, swinging around. Of course, we have to get the commentary point. We can't always go out then and see the actual machines they're going to ride. That one's been under wraps too as Morrow comes down here. It just shows you some idea of Zula's ride when the ex-pursuit champion of the world is going to be soundly, what, he'll be lucky to get in the top for 50 places. 88, told you. Well, that's near enough. 45 kilometres per hour. not happy. Don't be put off by this man's appearance, by the way. He looks awfully calm and collected. Breaking then. Well, we're back then with the Festina ride at the moment, and it's Thierry Marie who undoubtedly the crowd here would expect to do great. This is that sharp right-hander. We've not seen this one on the screen before. See that they got this little climb here, and Marie here now is really going to show people what this is all about. An absolute prologue specialist. 3 times Marie has won the prologue time trial on the Tour de France. We're back down then with the Festina rider. We're kind of zip backwards and forwards at the moment. Thierry Marie here. This is the man then. 3 times prologue winner in the Tour de France. He's also won the prologue in the Giros. We go back to Ballerini, who really isn't going to feature, I think, in the prologues. He'll be sprinting for a stage success. But let's go back, I hope, to Thierry Marie, because yes, we are with this fellow here. Well, he comes from Normandy. We're going up close to there. He lives in a place called Bourneville. In '84, he rode in the French Olympic time trial squad, and he really is a specialist in prologue time trials. Twice he's won the prologue time trial in the Pyrenees. Once in Spain, once in Italy, and 3 times in the Tour de France. And of course, he set the record with the longest stage victory solo ride into Le Havre about 2 years ago as well. As Ludwig comes in to finish, well, you know, he takes down one of the photographers. That Olive, powerful sprinter that he is. Watch out with this fellow when the chips are flying. Abdul-Japarov, Cipollini, Ludwig, all these lot will be going for the sprints. And you see the size of that fella. Well, I'll tell you, there's going to be some eyes down looking when they come to the sprint finishes in the Tour de France on the flat stage. Andy Hampson, another rider who is no great lover of time trialling. He'll just go around here and try and contain his losses. Winner last year of a stage in the Tour de France into Alpe d'Huez. Past victor of the Tour of Switzerland. He likes the shorter tours actually, but I think we'd like to see him again up in the mountains getting a stage victory. Gianni Bugno, well, the enigma. He's had seconds and thirds in the Tour de France, and last year he said he was going to win it. He didn't. Well, this year in the Tour of Italy, he took an absolute pasting. I think he finished about 9th overall. He was absolutely grovelling in the Tour of Italy this year. But he's gone away for recuperation. He's got that sort of energy, which means he could win the Tour if he puts his mind to it and gets the right break. Perini, I say, not one of that. He's one of the sort of top men. You see number 61 in the ZG team. And here we are with the ones as well, because we've put all the ones up, and here we have number 21, Gianni Bugno, in the World Championship jersey. All the way around the Tour of Italy, he was applauded by the Tifosi, the Italian spectators, who were just happy to see him go. And we wish him the best of luck. He just can't sometimes put his act together, but he did it last year when he won the World Championship, and damn me, he did the same thing the year before. So you can't knock a man who's always finishing in the top 3 in the big tours, but he just wants to win a big one, and he's going to try and win this one this year. That Breukink, specialist in prologue time trials, despite his Lotus bike at the moment, is not going to topple Zulu for the crown. The yellow jersey is still with Alex Zülle by something. Oh, enormous margin here, because they're Breukink at 8:38. He's not going to take it. Yet to finish then, as Breukink finished, we've got Marie, Hampsten, Bugno, Chiappucci and Indurain all out on the course now. And Chiappucci here with the crowd urging him on. He likes it. He's got his little devil crash helmet on too. He's had one specially made with a painting of a devil. He likes the name of Diablo. They call him the devil. He doesn't like the fact that Stephen Roche says he goes around in a Batmobile because his BMW's got lots of aerials on it. Thierry Marie then. This is a fellow that could well take Zülle's time, and he's trying to go for that yellow jersey. It looks like he could get it. Marie, already 3 prologue tours to his success in the Tour de France. Victories, he going to get this one? He's not. He's not. Oh, that's a disappointment to Thierry Marie. That's not going to be another one to his scalp. That showed the performance of Alex Zülle, who still has the yellow jersey. Will this man beat that 8 minutes and 20 seconds of Zülle? Because that's what he's got to do to keep that yellow jersey on his shoulder. Miguel Indurain set history by being the first Spaniard to win the Tour of Italy 2 years ago. He then went on to win the Tour de France as well. Last year he won the Tour of Italy and the Tour de France. This year he's going to try and win the Tour de France for the 3rd time. And here he is then in yellow as last year's victor. He did a tremendous ride last year. at San Sebastian when he kept the yellow jersey. That doesn't happen very often, and he's fighting every inch, or I should say every centimetre of the way around this course, and the crowd applaud this great competitor and questioning really, has his strength come back? A couple of days ago in a Tour he took a bit of rough pasting on the last but one day, but he came back on the final day. But that's what Tour riding's all about. You have good days and bad days, and everybody's waiting for the moment that you crack. Well, Hampson is not going to feature, I think, in the prologue time trial at the moment, but wait for him in the mountains. And our interest really out there on the course is with Indurain. Chiappucci will fight his way around. He's a little competitive fella, but I don't expect he will really be much more than he should get the top 5, I'd have thought, and we'll have to wait and see, because we're getting towards the end of this one. It's an absolute cracking race. You can see there in the background this wonderful sight then of the water fountain there, the lakes and everything else, as here Bugno coming in to finish. And after Bugno, 1 minute later we expect Chiappucci. 1 minute after that we get Indurain. This is building up to an absolute cliffhanger, and Bugno is doing quite a cracking time too. He has got his psychological head back together again, and Bugno is going to fight for that yellow jersey if this is then to go by, and that must put him in a second place. 8:23 for Bugno. This is an absolute cliffhanger. We've still got Chiappucci and Indurain out on the course. You could not have written a better script than this one. Oh, Chiappucci is out there, the little devil himself. And he started 1 minute after Bugno. 1 minute behind him is Indurain. These are riders who finished first, second and third in last year's Tour de France. And Zuller is the one then who last year retired halfway through because his team manager wanted to save him for later. The shadows now of the setting sun. We're close there to the west coast. We're going to be out there tomorrow on our first road stage of the 1993 Tour de France. Out there in beautiful conditions. And these riders here have had some superb racing today. Indurain it is, and in the background the Spanish encouragement for his team manager who shepherded him right the way through since he was an amateur when he started racing at the age of 11. And Claudio Chiappucci coming down the finish line. He's not going to take that yellow jersey, but he's still going to finish up in the top 5, I suppose. Come on, Claudio, give it some stick, boy. In 7th spot, that will put him into the top 10, because if Indurain beats him, he'll go back into 8th. That's a marvellous piece of calculation on my part. I've just worked that out. Anybody can do that. You might say, yes, well, this is the last man on the road. It's Miguel Indurain. My goodness, he's closing up on Chiappucci. Realise they started 1 minute apart. This has got to be a cracking run. He could well keep the yellow jersey for the second year in succession. This is out of all order. I've never seen this before. 2 years on the trot. He's going to try and beat it. I think he gets Zuller. He's got 16 seconds to do it down that finishing straight. He's gritting his teeth and throwing his bike to the line. Can he get inside 8:20? And he gets there. He's done it. And Indurain keeps the yellow jersey by 8 seconds. That is absolutely phenomenal bike riding by this superb Spaniard, and this wonderful Puy-Du-Fou has seen another exciting start of the Tour. First time we've been here, but my goodness, yet another cliffhanger, and the man in yellow has done what he did last year. He's kept the yellow jersey despite some tremendous opposition. That will confirm for you the result, and I must say that again just shows you that this Tour de France, you see some names there. We're going to see the top 3 for the rest of the next 3 weeks, provided of course sickness, illness and crashes don't get them. We hope you stay with us, by the way. Myself, David Duffield, I've enjoyed this start. It was a great day. The Puy-Du-Fou has really laid on a cracking start to the race. Last night the fireworks, the lovely light show and everything that went on was just something else. I don't think we'll ever get a start like we saw last night. The presentation was out of this world, and for this man now to do what he did last year, win the prologue time trial and keep the yellow jersey. This is the 90th anniversary of the start of the Tour de France. Really, as far as I'm concerned, this, you couldn't have written a better script. It's been absolutely brilliant. There we are, you can see the castle there, the lovely lakes, and in the evening when the sun sets and all the lights come on, and they have the people dressed in local costume, old costumes walking around, and it's brilliant. You have to come here. So have a look on your map. It's there. Well, there's the big stadium in the background. The press office is just below there, and that's the big grandstand where people watched the big show last night. Well, today you watched the show. You watched again a tremendous start to the Tour de France, and I don't think that when this race started 90 years ago, they ever thought they'd see anything like this. We've enjoyed it. We hope you have. Myself, David Duffield, it's time to say for Eurosport, bye-bye.
The Tour de France is brought to you by Coca-Cola.